Talib Kweli, Talib Kweli posted this. He said, kind of gotta listen to it, but he said, "Well, damn, I liked Cop Shot the Kid too. Somebody should tell Consequence the good music is not a thing anymore." So if you don't know, Talib Kweli and Consequence, which again you have to be, I would say relatively, maybe I can correct me if I'm wrong, inundated with hip hop to even know these individuals and know that they're beefing nonetheless. Um, for this to have any level of context, but what Talib Kweli is not talking about, what he's talking about is not relevant here. It's because Talib Kweli, I love him all the same. He shared a clip of Kanye addressing some individuals that used to have a extremely close relationship in his career. Let's hear what he had to say. I have to refresh it.
And then, like I told you, yeah, like the label sale is a 3 to 6 month process.
It ain't gonna be in this situation. It's gonna be a get me out this motherfucking good music shit now. And Scooter ain't gonna be no, oh, I'm still putting my name on this shit. I need to get rid of good music because I'm great. And guess what? Good is the enemy of great. The fuck I'm doing giving Wanna Love You to fucking Teyana? What the fuck I'm doing giving that Daytona album to Pusha? What the fuck I'm doing, bro? That shit that shit was 3 dark fantasies that I gave away. Cop Shot the Kid, Nas rapping all goddamn offbeat on it. Don't even want to shoot a video. They shoot the video, don't even tell me. These motherfuckers don't appreciate me. All these motherfuckers is trying to use me. I'm the greatest motherfucking artist living, and I can do everything. And I'm not being expanded, and my vision is not being expanded to what it is. I'm performing at other people's festivals and shit. I've been wanting a fucking festival.
I feel as if, again, if I had that soundboard, there would be a round of applause. For anyone that feels like Kanye is not Kanye anymore, that was very much a Kanye rant if I ever heard one. Now, obviously, for some of these later topics tonight, it's going to be some hip hop talk. Like, we're kind of out of the, hey, this is what I would do advice type of thing. Let's just have some classic barbershop hip hop talk. Now, as you heard, we might replay it again because it was actually a pretty good rant. I'll give you like a A minus. He's basically just, venting his like regret for producing some of these albums, specifically kind of those 7-song albums that he went on to produce for Good Music Members and Nas, respectively. The Daytona Pusha T album, I forgot the name of Teyana's album, but the album with I Wanna Love You, Hurry. It was a Rose in Harlem, I believe. That might have been a record off of that. I think that was also the name of the thing. And then obviously the album that Nas did, one of the songs on it being Cop Shot the Kid. So yeah, it's just interesting. And obviously, to give a bit of context, there's like a secret, not so secret. The reason why I say it because it wasn't like promoted or anything. It was like a documentary that Kanye's doing, and it's being put out or is out, and he's there's a lot more of his ranting and his current feelings on some of the things that he did in the past. There's even a clip that was going around of him like dissing Cardi B to calling her an industry plant, and just him getting his again your typical Kanye getting not even being a bit subtle. I'm gonna say exactly what I want to say. So I heard this. And maybe because I care more about those albums and hip hop in general, but I'm curious to know what y'all think as well. What do y'all think when y'all hear Kanye Teak in this day and age, especially on those albums, which I think we all are familiar with? Do you think it's just typical Kanye, and these comments are like whatever? What do you think of these comments? And also what I kind of wanted to ask as well is, do you think loyalty should be like a factor in how you look at an artist?
What do you mean by like loyalty? Loyalty
to the other artists respectively? Because I mean, one of the big part of this rant as well is him like saying like good music is like pretty much dead. And again, this is more, I don't know if this is you have to be in hip hop culture to be in the know about, but like we all remember how much of a big thing the label of Good Music was, and like the Good Fridays and Kanye with Pusha T and it really like him or not, Big Sean, and it was such a powerful and a lot of dope music was produced out of that the good music era. But now he's effectively saying that stuff is dead. He's kind of being witty about it, saying I'm not good, I'm great. Even though the good music, what it stood for was it was a lot bigger than that. And it just seems like he's basically done with it. Like a lot of the people that was a pivotal part of his career. Like without Pusha T, without Teyana, without Nas, Kanye's not where he is. No matter how great he thinks he is. So I'm kind of curious, like I'm curious to know what y'all hear what y'all think about like is loyalty like anywhere a factor in how you look at an artist. The fact that he could, the fact that an artist could like again be very like tied to other artists, but because of maybe certain trajectories of how their career went, now they're pretty much saying they just regret it wholesale. What do y'all think? I'll start with you, Ghost. What do you think of Kanye's comments?
Um, I don't know. I mean, well, correct me if I'm wrong. First off, he's pissed he gave away some good beats because he thinks that he could rap better on them, or is he trying to distribute them to other people he's collabing with?
I
Because
think it's more of a like he feels as if, and I'm kind of extrapolating this based off other things that have happened outside of the specific albums and this specific clip. But obviously, as you know, Kanye's his behavior as in recent times has been above questionable. So much though that he's literally banned from Twitter slash X and Instagram. Maybe not Instagram, I forget. But he's getting banned. The stuff he said, his mental health issues has caused a lot of division in his life. And obviously, at a certain point, you can't stand behind that. Like how can Pusha T be like, yeah, Kanye's my main man, but at the same time, Kanye's saying the most wildest, outlandish, going on different platforms and saying like things that would get anybody canceled in a heartbeat. So I think the fact that he's not too happy with the artist that didn't stand behind him through all the madness. If that answers the question, my apologies, I kind of ranted myself there.
um, I don't know. I mean, for one, like as you mentioned, Kanye's like been wild. He's always some pretty epic rants, but it's like you can say all this Kanye, and he entitled to think that like for one, I mean, Cop Shot the Kid wasn't a great song. That beat was not great either, to be honest. But it's like you can think that, but just make sure that the shit you're putting out is great, not good. Because
Mm.
I listened to your last two albums, bro, and that shit was not it. Like
Don the one and two.
y'all like Donna, and I like Donna was trash. Donna two, I only listened to part of it. That was garbage, trash. Like he's not putting out music that's good enough to be complaining about other people, in my opinion. I guess it's not really about the music for him. It's about feels that people betrayed him, and he's
Yeah.
just trying to like I don't want to say lash out, but he's taking shots at him. And again, this is a leak thing. It's not like he did it in public, but I don't know. It's like
Well, the purpose of it was to be public at some point. It's not like he's saying this behind closed doors without like there's literally
oh,
cameras all over the thing. Like this was were meant to be recorded.
okay, got you. Well, yeah, in that case, so I take it back. Um, it's like you can't be like a bench player talking shit about like LeBron or KD. Like I'm not to that's kind of a extreme because Kanye's even if he's falling off, he still makes decent music. But I don't know, it's kind of besides the point. But if
No,
he's talking,
we're just talking. I'm curious to know all y'all thoughts on it.
I don't know, like focus on making good music yourself, bro. That should be his first focus, and then as far as the loyalty thing
Well,
goes,
technically, he doesn't want to make good music anymore. He wants to make great
yeah.
music, but that's just a pun.
um, I mean, I I'm not too hung up on the loyalty thing, specifically in Kanye's case. I think in general, you should have loyalty, specifically in like a producer rapper back and forth. Like there's been a lot of beefs over the years between producers and rappers for whatever reasons, and they split up, got back together, blah blah. Blah. But I don't think that it's a good look to be just talking shit on them and say that they like you can feel some type of way about how they dealt with you in a personal manner, but like it just feels a little weird to say dudes rapping off beat. Like even if it's true, you kind of not supposed to say it. Like you're the producer, but I don't have a problem with Kanye saying this because in his mind he specifically was betrayed, even if it was on a personal level by Pusha T. And I don't know about Nas. I don't really know their history, but it's he's
I
feeling
mean,
slighted.
we all remember we major
Uh,
late registration.
I don't
yeah,
remember
I mean
Nas
they
having a
had
verse on that, but
yeah they had some involvement, but I mean it's on a way different level than Pusha and Kanye. Like I'm saying, I don't know if Nas has had beef with Kanye like Pusha's had.
Yeah, I see what you're
So
saying.
yeah, it's I guess in his mind he feels like they turned his back on. He's just talking shit on him now. So I'm not too pressed about it, but in general, I don't think it's a good look.
Okay, so I guess since your focus is literally just the quality of Kanye's current music, even though he's like damn near pushing people, no pun intended, pushing people's back in. If he put out some bangers, you would still be all in to listen to his music.
Well, if he puts out bangers, then he'd be more entitled to talk his shit. Not to say that he's 100, he would be 100% entitled, but I've heard his recent shit. It is trash.
Well,
Like
again,
he's doing,
we don't have to focus
yeah.
on him
I don't want to keep harping on
specifically.
that, but
I'm just saying, like, let's say you had an artist and a producer, and they work super well together. They put out like music that you thoroughly enjoy, and then you know the producer. I guess since we're speaking from a he gave away self perspective, the producer, at a certain point in time, he. He's like, hey, this artist I was working with, I actually think the way they rapped on my album was trash. You know, I'm better than I create better music alone or without them or whatever the case may be. And then they went on to put out new music. Would you be super in line to just go ahead and support that producer still, or would the fact that they're like a producer that moves like this, uh, even if they might be in the wrong, is it's all about the quality of the music?
for me, it kind of goes back to the whole artist versus the art argument. I generally don't pay too much mind to what artists do or what they say unless it's like super heinous. So if a producer I was a fan of did say something like that, then I would kind of look at them a little sideways. But I'm still gonna listen to their new stuff to see if it's good. So
Hmm.
if it's bad, then I'll definitely look at them in a negative way. Just because you made good music, you broke up, and then you dropped new stuff and it wasn't good. Like that's it. Kind of shows that you were carried, to be honest. But
Hmm.
it's yeah, I'm gonna listen to it. It's not really gonna put me off at first, at least.
Got you, got you. And then what about you, Ace? What do you think of Kanye's comments here? And do you think loyalty plays any factor in like what you think of an artist?
as far as his comments are concerned, I as I understand where they're coming from now that you've given the context of um this kind of being a reaction to these artists not supporting him.
Oh, I
Um
didn't even vote for him when he ran for president.
yeah.
uh,
Um so yeah, it makes sense why he's doing this. Um the Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I can say about it. As far as like just in reaction to his comments themselves,
mm,
I'm not surprised. But as far as loyalty being a factor in how I look at an artist, I think I agree with Ghost. Like, it doesn't really matter to me if there's two artists I really like that start beefing. If they both continue to put out dope music, I'm going to listen to both of them. Um, that doesn't really matter. And I have an example in mind. Um, yeah, I have at least one example in mind. Um, So yeah, I think that kind of touches on the like how much you respect the art versus the artist conversation. Like, I don't know, beefing. Like, I mean, beefing is kind of something that's supposed to happen in rap anyway. So yeah, I don't. It's
Yeah,
not going
but
to deter me.
loyalty is supposed to happen in hip hop as well.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, understanding the situation, like it. I guess it would kind of depend on what the what the reason for the separation is, or what the reason for the rift is. But at the end of the day, like music is almost always going to triumph unless it's something heinous, like Ghost said. If they put out great music, it's gonna. I'm not gonna listen to it. I mean, not gonna not listen to it just off principle. Like this guy beefing, and this rapper is my friend. I don't look at it like that. Like I just look at it as two artists making music. They had a riff for whatever reason. I'm still gonna listen to the music. And yeah, maybe I'll think of the artist differently. Depending on what the rift was about, but probably still gonna consume the music. I'm
Yeah,
almost.
that makes sense. I don't think I necessarily asked specifically about listening to the music, but I guess you said you also look at them differently a bit. But in the same vein, I guess like even handling you guys, I guess I am a bit more fake invested in just the sense that like I don't know, and especially like because when I hear this, like he's specifically talking about like those 7 track albums that he made, but I'm thinking like um what's the record on what was it, Cruel Summer with him, Pusha T, and Ghostface. I should have just kept my thing up this entire time. It's just like and like records like Click, him and Jay Z. It's just it looks it just looks bad that that Kanye could make such dope music that the culture loved and respected, um, but because of his sentiments towards like how people have treated him or not supported him, he's like doing a lot of these things that just tarnish these relationships in a sense. I,
Yeah,
I,
but so it's but what is it like? Is the problem? I don't know. Like, is the problem that that this is tarnishing your view of Kanye?
yes, very much so.
Hmm.
Like this is some lame shit to me, honestly speaking.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that can happen, but I don't know it because I don't have any relationship to these people other than listening to their music. It doesn't matter to
And
me.
Well,
and to
so
that
I got
point,
a question.
and to that point, oh, Jess, go ahead.
I'm just real quick for you, Ace. I guess to frame it better, what if Doom, if he was still alive,
Rest in power.
Mhm.
rest in power, but what if he was still alive and he was talking shit about Madlib? Who they made
Yeah,
Mad?
it doesn't like would I potentially look different at Doom as a person? Maybe, although I don't really know didn't really know much about his person, him as a person anyway. But as far as his music and even as far as listening to Mad Villainy, I would still look at it from the time frame it was placed in. Doom and Mad Villain were making beastly music. They were tight during that time, and I can still put myself in that frame of mind. There's a real example, which is Vastera and LP, which they
Yeah, some
made.
backpack hip hop shit.
Yeah, I know. They made the Cold Vein together, along with Vort Omega, Cannibal Ox, the whole group. They made the Cold Vein together. Vast Air and LP had a rift, and I don't think that's been resolved since. Vast Air since then hasn't released good music, in my opinion, or at least anything that's made me want to check for his stuff. LP has, and I still listen to LP. But when I go back and listen to the Cold Vein, it doesn't really. I'm not thinking about the beef between Vaster and LP. I'm just thinking about how dope the music was, and even if I'm putting myself in the mindset of like these two, um, being on the same track and producing a dope track and like the camaraderie that they must have had at that time, I can still put myself back in that time and not think about the beef while I'm listening to the music. And that's really the only relationship I have to these people is listening to their music. I'm not really invested in who they are at the end of the day, per se.
Right. And I mean, going back to what you were saying, like the way I look at it, and again, this is not a wrong or right thing, and I could, very much say it isn't. I am probably too invested in, this as just like a person, but it's not necessarily like I feel like I'm gonna have to pick sides of the beef or anything like that, even though you can argue in this sense Kanye is kind of more blatantly wrong. It's just a sense that I do put some emphasis on loyalty and how when people come up together and work together and collaborate together and make things that are really have a lot of impact on the culture, for a person to like just turn around and like diminish those things and like again like diss those people and be like, hey, I made this for you, and I feel as if, and now all of a sudden I feel as if you didn't produce, you weren't rapping on it, or you weren't producing quality to what I wanted on that. It just seems like it's kind of a slap in the face of the culture, the record, like a lot of the more like non-tangible aspects of this. Again, I don't know, we don't know any people from a can of paint to actually have any sentiment towards them. We're most likely never going to meet them or anything like that. But I'm just kind of think of it as like I just respect or disrespect lack of loyalty. I respect loyalty and I disrespect lack of loyalty from any aspect. If it could be two random stoners that I'm looking at down the street, but I'd have to know their backstory, of course. And if there's the person that's like showcasing this lack of loyalty, even though they've had important moments in life, that just rubs off on me the wrong way, and I just think it's some lame shit.
Do you think there's any way in which this could have happened and you would have agreed? Like, for example, if Kanye wasn't the enemy of the world right now, and he was still producing great music, and there was a beef that arose between him and Nas, and then he went back and said these things about the album with Nas and how it wasn't that great, and Nas was rapping off beat. Because I remember that being kind of true for that album, but
Yeah,
it's just Kanye is saying it like as
yeah,
opposed to anybody else.
yeah. Let's be clear. To be honest, I've been kind of careful with my words. I enjoy some of the songs off that Nas album, like the Everything record. But I wouldn't say that whole album was the greatest, highest level production of Nas, and I think Nas even has some like reservations about how the album was released. But besides the point,
Yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I'm not specifically. Again, this is a situation where Kanye is kind of on the wrong side of history, but I'm not necessarily attached to Pusha T or any of these other individuals. Time Teller, it's just the way it played out, and I think specifically going back and speaking negatively on things does like look away, because I don't know. Whenever you're going back and speaking on things when during that time period, none of this was said. There wasn't a word of this. Again, there was some comments on the Nas album specifically, but again, he never came out publicly and said any of these things. It seems like this is all falling in aftermath of the lack of support that you think that they should have been showing you, like the way things disbanded and things of that nature. Like if every one of the individuals that he mentioned voted for him, was riding through all the madness and all the cancelings and all the words that he said and all the I love so and so, I I I don't think we would see a situation where he's going back and say, hey, that Pusha T album was trash, that Tiana Taylor album was trash, that Nas album was trash. It seems like rooted in lack of loyalty. Why we get these comments.
Yeah, so what I'm asking you is if it was something else, like if it was like again, Kanye and Nas had a beef for some other reason, but other than that, like Kanye was still just a perfectly normal, I mean, a normal rapper, He didn't do anything crazy. He didn't have the mental health issues. He was just still Kanye. And him and Nas have a beef. And then he talks about how the the album he did with Nas wasn't good. Like, would you have a problem with it still because of a loyalty thing? Or would it be potentially okay if the situation was more so that Kanye, was quote unquote like in the right, or he had more leg to stand on?
I see what you're saying or asking. I think the dynamics of the circumstance could definitely change the outlook on it. Although I would say, in general, there are very few exceptions on which it's acceptable to go back and talk crap about something that you were heavily involved with, that you heavily produced, and that you at the time made no comments about. That in general isn't a good way to go about things. Like it shows a lack. It speaks very badly on your character. That when in the moment everything's good and cool, but then when things are a little dicey for whatever reason, it could be that someone did defended you, rightfully so. But now when we were doing that, I didn't even like that album, and I hated the way you went about it. And again, if you said those things back in the day, and then maybe now you're just adding more information or saying or reiterating those sentiments, that would be one thing. But for years, it was okay. He put out those albums that was dope at the time. Well, some dope, some not so dope. But there was never any real big issue. But all of a sudden now, it's an issue. That doesn't. Yeah, I don't rock with that type of behavior.
I think like if in the situation that I'm proposing, I could be more accepting of it. And again, like to me, he's commenting more so on the Nas album specifically, having a problem with the quality of that. The other albums, it seems like he was just saying, I gave you great quality production, um, and you were able to, do something great with it, especially to push. Like, I mean, for me anyway, that
Yeah.
was a clear like win.
No.
So to me, what he's saying is, I gave you all this supporting. Like, basically, that's what I'm getting from for those ones. For the
No.
Nas is a little
I agree.
different.
I agree with you. He's definitely making clear, like, hey, some of these albums I gave them away, quote unquote, gave them
Yeah, yeah,
away,
yeah, yeah,
and you guys didn't stick by me. But for the Nas album, he's going a bit further and saying you didn't even do well on this album that I gave you.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I see there's a bit of difference. But at the end of the day, these things are being lumped into one rant. So this is
Yeah.
one conscious stream of thought being conveyed. And again, I would I would bet money on the fact that if Nas stood by him through all the nonsense,
Yeah.
these comments wouldn't be made. I think there's a factor that he feels like they betrayed him. So now I'm gonna go back and say all these things that I've either had on my chest or I didn't feel until now, and I'm gonna just get it off my chest.
Gotcha.
So yeah, but obviously again we're just having some hip hop talk, and we're gonna actually continue with the next topic. But I, I'm not saying I'm no way saying shit. I'm no way saying that if Kanye put out another album that I wouldn't listen. But I mean, obviously, it makes me look at his character like. And again, like, who am I to even look at someone's character? This is a watch. We're just talking. We're just having conversations.